Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. It's match day, and Chelsea are taking on Fluminense in the Club World Cup semi-finals. We are 2 matches away from becoming the Club World Cup champions. I know, it's mad. Did I expect it? No. Am I happy that we're there? Absolutely. Do I think we can win it? Honestly, when you look at the other side of the draw and you see we're playing in the final, you'd probably still say no. But it's good. It's impressive. People seem to want to take away from this achievement, because it is an achievement. And it's a good achievement, and I think that's something that we should be happy about and proud of. But listen, I mean, if we're able to do this and achieve something very special, even getting to the final is a great achievement, if we're being totally honest. From where we were to going up and finishing higher up than every other team in the competition, bar one even, is a great place to be, especially from a financial point of view, because this is the financial competition where more money you make, the better. And it's probably the only competition where you could get to the final and still be like, we've done all right. You know, we've done pretty well to get to this stage. Big up to Woodshed. I hope you're doing well. Hope your jet lag is easing up on you. I had a big sleep, so hopefully it's all good now, man. Big up to Jordan. Hope you're doing well. Torsten, I am feeling very good. What will be the lineup? We can go through that. Don't worry, we'll go through it. My opinion on João Pedro is I thought he had a great debut. I think it was a good debut that he had. I was happy with what he did when he came on. I have just from that debut, I have an idea of what he can bring to this team more so than I did before. And I get the impression that João Pedro is a player that comes in as a direct replacement for João Felix. And the reason that Maresca likes João Pedro more than João Felix is because what João Pedro has is a technical ability, maybe not as silky as João Felix, but he has a technical ability, and he matches that with a mentality to run, a willingness to run. And I think that's what Maresca wants. You know, if you look at Palmer, he's obviously our best player. Then you can see that just because you're one of our shining stars doesn't mean you can't run, and that goes for anyone in this team. If you don't put a shift in, then I don't think the manager is going to play you. And I'm not sitting there saying João Felix doesn't try, but he doesn't put in an effort defensively like other players. And that's just the reality, if I'm honest. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that João Pedro is coming in that sense. But we paid a lot of money for him. I don't think he was worth the money we paid. To Brighton, he was, because they signed him for about 35 million. They needed to make a profit. But from our perspective, you know, there's certainly other places that money could have been spent. But I've said it before. I want to try and give this more of a chance. I've said this, you know, from the beginning of sort of the Club World Cup. I'm trying to go into this tournament with a fresh outlook, and just see where it takes us. You know, and so far the journey's been fantastic. It's been amazing. So nobody can criticize where we are at the moment. I mean, if you are criticizing it, then I just think you're being negative for the sake of being negative. We are still in the competition. Whether we played well or badly, we are in the competition, and we've improved as the competition has gone on. I was at the LAFC game. I thought it was poor. I was at the Esperance Tunis game. I thought that was poor. You know, it was pretty easy. You know, we weren't up against any real challenges. But then you look at Benfica and you go, pretty good. I saw the Palmeiras game and I thought, we're getting better and better and better. And that is a great thing, to see that we are progressing as the tournament's going on. We're not getting worse, we're getting better. Again, you're saying this ain't Chelsea. We're still in the competition. So this ain't Chelsea would be if we'd been knocked out. So it's just a bit of a strange comment. Thank you very much, Alma. Appreciate the kind words. Maresca press conference was weird. He was speaking different languages to the journalists. Well, I mean, maybe they were asking the questions in different languages. Looks like the game is sold out. Only resale tickets available. Hopefully Chelsea fans turn up. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine there'll be quite a lot of Brazilians out there, especially the Fluminense fans. But hopefully the Chelsea fans turn up. That's true. I see everyone saying Chelsea has been lucky to have an easier path, but to be practical, considering Chelsea is a young side, still a whip. The teams we are facing are on the same page. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, listen, it doesn't matter because Bayern Munich are out. You've got Man City who are out. Al Hilal are out. All of these teams are out. Teams that people would have said would have probably beaten Chelsea. But you've got to have luck in some competitions. You have to have luck. You know, do we take credit away from Leicester winning the Premier League because other teams underperformed? No, we give them credit. Credit where credit's due. We are in the competition. And what more do you want? What more do you want? My stance on Maresca is pretty much the same. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan. I don't hate him. I don't love him. But after last season, I always said this, you know, he deserves the opportunity after finishing in the top four and winning the Conference League, which is the bare minimum requirements. He deserves the opportunity to come in and see if he can establish himself this season as our gaffer. Now, I don't think he needs to win the Premier League. I'd like to see us compete in the Premier League for longer. But what we do need to see is progression in domestic cups, progression in the style of play as the season goes on. And we need to see a little bit more common sense in terms of some decisions as well. Even, you know, we talk about Santos. He had a great game, didn't he, against Palmeiras? And that's great. That's brilliant. I'm glad to see that Andre Santos is settling into the side. But what people seem to have forgotten is that he wasn't initially going to start in this game. He wasn't going to start. So if Reece James would have started in that game, we could be having a very different conversation. We could have played a totally different match. I don't think that Reece James would have done a better job in the midfield than Andre Santos. And Santos proved why. I've never seen James play that well in the midfield. Okay, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. And it's not because he can't have good games. It's because he's not a midfielder. You're not going to play your best football if you're a right back playing in the midfield. It's the same for Gusto. It's the same for Achimpong. It's the same for even Cucurella. Although I will say this, Cucurella does invert very well. Out of all those players, Cucurella is the one player that I like it when he inverts. And we saw that not even under Maresca. We saw that under Pochettino. So let's not act like everything is perfect, but let's appreciate where we are. And let's understand that we are in a great position to push forward and win the first edition of the new Club World Cup, which will not only put us in a very healthy position in terms of FFP, PSR, whatever you want to call it, but it will also put us in a position where we can win our second trophy in a couple of months and our third big achievement in a short space of time. So it's not just in terms of the trophy and the financial aspect, it is the mental aspect for the players. I'm sure we are right up for it now. Right up for it. How can you not be when you're playing Fluminense in the semi-final of the Club World Cup and then you got PSG and Real Madrid taking on each other? This is creme de la creme. Creme de la creme. I expected quarterfinals. That's what I said. And I said we'd be knocked out by Bayern. That was my prediction before the tournament when I was asked outside at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That's what people said. Well, of course, Chelsea are going to win the tournament. Of course we are. Where the fuck are you getting that logic from? But listen, we've had some luck. There's no doubt about it. Ride your luck. Okay? Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you go on a night out. And a good-looking girl, for some reason, she thinks you're good-looking. And whatever happens, happens. Sometimes she goes, fuck off, I don't want to speak to you. And that's the way the game goes. That's the way the game goes. You get lucky and you don't get lucky. But guess what? Life goes on. And you always get another opportunity. And one thing that's frustrated me last season, actually more so towards the end of the season, ever since the season's been over, people have spoken to me as if I am, or they've made this opinion of me as if I am the negative Chelsea fan. The negative one. Me. I am the one who has been, almost delusional at times in terms of how positive I've been. But last season I had enough. Because I genuinely gave these owners a chance. I gave the project a chance. And then I saw what we did, and it's not about whether you like Poch or whether you don't like Poch. But my thing was that if you're going to trust the manager, trust the manager. And then they sacked him. They sacked Potter. They sacked Tuchel. They brought in Lampard. Some strange signings. Never really addressing the short-term issues. And honestly, if we hadn't have achieved Champions League, I think we would be finished, as a club. I think that would have set us back years. Years and years and years. Sanchez was a big part of my anger. You're absolutely right. That was the number one problem that I had. But I've always been open to seeing what can work and what does work. But the reality is, if we do what we did last season, I really struggle to see us progressing. I really struggle to see that. But if we level up in terms of signings, in terms of, tactically, in terms of in-game management, in terms of a number of things, depth as well, it all counts, then we can have a great season. We really can. And I want to keep my cards very close to my chest in terms of what I believe this Chelsea team can do until the window's over. I really don't know. I don't know what we can do. I don't know. I'm not Maresca out. But I said that after the Conference League game. I'm not Maresca out right now. But I don't love the guy. I really don't. I was pissed off when I saw James in the lineup the other day, but then he got injured, so it worked out well. Maybe this is the eye-opener that he needed to start Andre Santos in this game against Fluminense. And if that's the case, brilliant. As I said, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Time will tell. But I just want to say this. If we get to the final, which I believe we can do, and then we lose, don't fucking be all negative. Really? Come on. Who actually thought we were getting in the final? Who really believes that? You know, at the beginning of the tournament, we played LAFC. Did you really believe that? So I give credit where credit's due for this tournament. Even getting to the semi-final. It's better than I thought we'd do. So, you know, I think we will win. I think it'll be a hard game, but I think we will win. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do. Big up to Kevin. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Go, Alex. What a lovely message. Thanks, Kevin. Big up to Stephen. How's the weather there? I'm in England now, Stephen. I'm not in America anymore. I flew back. People are going, why didn't you stay for the whole tournament? Because I've got bills. Hello. I have bills. Your boy doesn't do Chelsea Fan TV full time. So, as much as I would love to have stayed for the whole tournament, I have to earn some money because Chelsea Fan TV does not pay my bills. As much as a lot of people like to believe. So there you go. But big up to you. Nico Jackson Redemption is calling. It's going to feel like 100 degrees Fahrenheit during the match today. Well, thank God I'm not there because I have the worst sunburn ever. I woke up in bed. Half of my skin is peeled off. I'm like a snake. I've got scales. I don't know if... No, it's actually quite good now, to be fair. But, like the back. I've been recovering for about a week from severe sunburn. I honestly think I had a 2nd degree burn. It was horrendous. Maresca is a very lucky coach, but I believe we're gone by Christmas. Time will tell, Peter. Time will tell. We will see. Hey, Alex, just woke up at the hotel in New York. Really hungover, having my first pint at lunch and ready for the game. My prediction is 3-1 Chelsea. You know, this whole thing about prediction, I struggle to predict without knowing the lineup. I could make a prediction if certain players started, but I can't guarantee those players would start. So then, you know, it's difficult. But big up to you anyway. Mrs. is not excited for the game. Why? Why is she not excited? No, mate, we're going to need to wait a lot longer for the lineup. It's 8 p.m. UK time, so we've got a number of hours until that. Am I coming to the AC Milan and Leverkusen game at home? Looking forward to meeting you. Yes, I will hopefully be there. I haven't bought a ticket yet. I'm considering sitting in the West stand for a laugh. So maybe I'll do that. We'll see. But yes, I should be there. Only interested in pound notes, not trophies. Well, I mean, this trophy is a pound note, in fairness. So you can make that argument. Do I think Santos is getting sold? No, I don't. I don't think he's getting sold. Big up Thiago Silva. I'm with you. I don't like Maresca as well. He keeps playing James in midfield. Listen, if I'm honest with you, you know, with James in midfield, it worked in the Conference League. But it's not fucking elite level midfielder. He's not good enough. He will get found out in the Champions League playing as a fucking midfielder. He will. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, send me your bank details. I saw you at the game against Flamengo in Philly. Well, big up to you, Kudjo B. I hope you're doing well, mate. Did I meet you or did you just see me? At least it's not 2 a.m. That's true. That is very true. Maresca has surprised me with how he's racking up the wins. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed. I shouldn't be surprised. You know, we should be getting to the semi-finals. That should have been like our minimum. And we've done that. And for me, anything past, and then that's talking from a Chelsea perspective, right? Talking from a Chelsea perspective, you know, coming into the fold as Chelsea, not Maresca's Chelsea, not Clear Lake, just Chelsea. You know, even under Abramovich, you would have probably said semi-finals, maybe final, but you wouldn't have expected us to win against the Madrids and the Bayern Munichs and the PSGs. They would have been favourites over us. So yeah, for me, it's all a bonus now. It's all a bonus, and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy that we're in the semi-finals. You know, I was impressed with the past few games. I think that the style is improving. I think it's more entertaining. I think that Robert Sanchez has had a relatively good tournament. I don't know why he's been criticised for the goal Esteval scored against us. I thought it was just an unbelievable goal, to be honest with you. I don't criticise Sanchez for that goal. I still don't like Sanchez. I still don't think he's good enough, but I think he's been better, you know, in this tournament than I've seen, generally speaking. I hope James not in midfield, rather he plays as a right centre-back with no Cole or Cucurella will be a left centre-back and toss in as a centre-back. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Big up, Alex. I love the way you critique Maresca when he keeps playing Reece James in the midfield when it's clear it doesn't work. Whereas some of the Chelsea fans are defending the manager. Well, listen, I don't know what to say. I just don't like it. But you know, it does work at times. It does work at times. But we know he's not a midfielder. There's not really a lot more to say about it. It's a pretty basic football question. Is Gusto an inverting right back? No. None of them are. So why are you doing it? We know Cucurella can do it. Yeah, he's a new number one. Americans pissed off about the last 3 matches of the Club World Cup kickoffs during work. Should be 8 o'clock East Coast time. We have 6 time zones. Well, listen, it's a great time. 8 a.m. Jesus Christ. It was 8 p.m. for us in England, so it's a good time for us. Crystal Palace want to sign Josh Achupong. We'll talk about that, don't worry. How much would you give this window if we get some cover for Cucurella, a solid centre-back and outgoings, but Rob Sanchez, the bum, as our number one? I think we need to wait. You know, again, I don't really want to rate it until it's done. So we'll see. Who's my favourite player in this tournament? So far? Well, I think it depends how you look at it. If you look at it from people watching at home, maybe it's different. But going to the games, I've really enjoyed watching Delap. I love Delap. Really like watching Delap. And I tell you, a lot of the match going fans loved the lap. Who else have I loved? I've loved watching Pedro Neto. I think he's looked great. If I was to give you my number one Chelsea player in the tournament, I'd say Pedro Neto. Definitely. All of these results aren't a result, Maresca. Who are they a result of then? Who actually owns Chelsea Fan TV? Me. Big up Chelsea fans. Drop a like. Yes, we've got over 120 of you in the building as it stands. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Let's get up to 100. My goodness, we are way behind. We are on at 37 likes as it stands. Let's get up there. Come on, people, smash that like button. In fact, let's start with a very easy target. Let's go with 70, and then we'll work our way up. But we've got over 100 of you. We should be at least halfway there. Come on, people, smash that like button. Okay, let's get into some of the nitty-gritty, and then we can speak about a few other things as well. We will start off with some of the news from yesterday. We're sort of touching up on it. We've got some interesting comparisons for you. So let's start off with the average age of Fluminense. If you compare that with Chelsea, Fluminense's average age is over 31. Chelsea with an average age of 24, and that's probably being generous, if I'm honest. I don't know if that includes players out on loan. I would have actually said lower in a lot of respects. So, yeah. Doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I can imagine Thiago Silva probably pushes that age up a little bit. Nothing wrong with having a mixture of experience as well as other things as well. Now, looking at what Maresca has had to say on a couple of things, Lavia is not going to be ready for the game tomorrow. When asked about Noni Madueke and his frame of mind, Maresca said, personally, I think the same noise before the Palmeiras game, and we gave him half an hour and he was very good. I don't have any doubts that if we need Noni, he can help us. I can understand where there's noise around you. It's difficult to deal with that. When asked if he wants to see the players be more like Thiago Silva, he said, I am happy with the way our players are. And I remember seeing some of the responses to that message. And a lot of people said wrong answer. I'd say that was absolutely the right answer. Why the fuck would you say that you want your players to be someone that they can't be, that they're not? Of course, you've got to say that you're happy with the way your players are. And even more positive, if he's actually happy with the way they are, then fair play, good. It means the mentality is improving. And I can't dispute that because we're still in the competition and we're in the semi-finals, potentially 2 games away from winning. So that would be an unbelievable place for us to be. He said there's room for improvement always, Maresca. We are in the right direction, but we can do many things better. We are going to try to keep doing that. And then also asked about João Pedro's long-term position. He said, I think João Pedro can play in all attacking positions for us. The difference with Nico, I see him just as a 9, but I see João in different positions. So that's what Maresca had to say. Now, this is a good one. Michael Buffer will announce the Fluminense and Chelsea teams onto the pitch tomorrow. That is unreal. I hope you know who Michael Buffer is. Michael Buffer is a legend in boxing. A very, very well-known name in the boxing world. And He's just got an iconic voice, really. So what does he say? Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, look, here we go.
Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match in the history of professional wrestling for the heavyweight championship of the world. Are you ready? Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, from the capital city of the United States of America, Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
There you go. Bit of Michael Buffer there. So we were saying Bruce Buffer's better. I mean, they're both good, aren't they? They're both good. They're both very good. Would you rather have Bruce Buffer going, it's time? Take your pick. Listen, they're both very good announcers. Let's get ready for profits. Oh, I like that one. That's funny. That's good. That is good. I like that one, Stephen. Okay, cool. So, yeah, moving on. So Michael Buffer will be the announcer for the game. Okay, let's touch on a few of the transfer dealings before we go on to the lineup. Christopher Nkunku is again a target for Bayern Munich, and they are keen once again on bringing Nkunku back to Germany. Chelsea will insist on a permanent deal for the forward, but I can presume that Bayern Munich are looking for maybe a loan stance with an option to buy. The problem with the options to buy is that, again, nobody commits. Nobody really commits. Like, we didn't commit to Sancho. We commit to spending 5 million if we didn't sign Sancho, but that was obviously more attractive than spending 25 million. And that was the reality of that situation. So, yeah, I don't really have a problem with sending out a player on loan if we can increase value, and that will allow clubs to commit. But the Germans have never been massive spenders. I mean, Bayern Munich have, they have spent a significant amount on certain players if they really want them. So we know they have the money, but they're just not particularly, they're a little bit stingy in that sense, if we're being honest. So, yeah, I don't personally see this deal happening. At this moment in time, it's difficult to see it happening. But I do want to say this, which is I am totally open to keeping Nkunku if we commit to playing him in his natural position. There's times when we play him further on the left. In terms of a rotation option, there's not much better that you can get out there. The only thing that Nkunku doesn't do that people don't like is he's not a runner. He's never been a runner, even when he was a good player for us. When he was scoring goals. He's never been a runner. He's never been a presser. He's never been a player that expends an awful lot of energy. So I've always been of the stance that you need to try and just get the best out of the individual. And Maresca's system clearly doesn't do that with Nkunku. And part of the reason for that is having Palmer in there. Not only is Palmer scoring a lot of goals, or scored a lot of goals for Chelsea and been a great playmaker, but he also runs a lot. right? So there's so many different things that Palmer can do, which is why he will always be ahead of Nkunku in the lineups. But I don't think that you can deny that Nkunku is good enough to play in our squad. There's no denial of that. He's not been utilised. Yes, he's had some bad games. He's had a bad season. That's very true. I don't think it had to be that way. I think it could have been very different. I blame that on the manager. I really do think that the manager mishandled him in terms of his development specifically. I blame it on the club for publicly listing him on sale and basically offering him out to clubs. I think that was just wrong. I think it was quite disrespectful. I don't think that's a good way to keep a player on side either. And no, fair enough. I'm not saying that he never, ever defends. I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of games where Nkunku hasn't done that. And that's been a lot of the issues that people have seen. I mean, I appreciate that he's not a defensive player. I appreciate that. I would like to see him play in his natural position. That's what I would like. And if you are going to play Palmer on the right, then it frees up Nkunku in the 10. I don't know how people would complain about that. I mean, if we saw this guy playing consistently in his natural position, I think he'd score quite a lot of goals. So I think, there is still an option for Nkunku to stay. But, the ownership only have one idea, which is to get rid of him. He is one of the players on a higher wage. And he's a little bit older as well than some, so I think they just want to flip him. And that's the reality, really. Do I think João Pedro and Santos have done enough to start tonight? I am going to say that Santos probably... I think, yes. Santos, definitely. João Pedro, I don't know if he'll start ahead of Jackson. I think that's a good debate to have. I mean, I know a lot of people would want to see him start, but Maresca obviously knows what he's going to get from Jackson. So 50-50 on that one. Borussia Dortmund want Carney Chukwuemeka on loan again. Chelsea are currently believed to prefer Chukwuemeka's outright sale, making a deal difficult at this stage. This is according to Seb SB and The Athletic. Okay, so they're the ones that are reporting this particular story. And again, it's same old. Listen, the Germans don't want to spend a lot of money. So does not surprise me whatsoever that this is going to be another standoff where they're saying, listen, we'll take the player, but we're just not taking him permanently. And that helps with freeing wages up for a season, but not more than that. And again, the contract is going to run down again and again and again, and you're losing value. So, yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. I don't know what to say. I personally think that there should be an obligation to buy. They have to buy him after taking him on loan. But I really don't know. I'm not 100% sure, to be quite frank. Would I like to see Chukwuemeka stay at Chelsea? Yes. Will he stay at Chelsea? No. So there's not really much point touching on it. We just don't want to keep him. That's the reality. Chelsea are big admirers of Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers. From Aston Villa, again, another player who can play in the number 10. I think that if we were to bring in a player like Morgan Rogers, then it's pretty obvious that we should sell Nkunku. So that is, that's my stance on him. I would probably rather have Morgan Rogers than Nkunku, especially in this system. He's a ball carrier. He's a player who can dribble. He's a player who can shoot from range, cause a lot of problems, and brings in a different profile, a new profile, something, if you want to change it up, you can, and you've got that instant quality coming off the bench to make an impact during games, or a player that you could start and rely on in that sense. But again, it's all about the price. And you make a great point. Why would Villa sell Rodgers? They sold their women's team. So they have no problem with PSR. Now, this is the other thing, though. You know, we're talking about admirers. We're not talking about Chelsea actually making a bid. Initially, what the situation was before Aston Villa sold the women's team, what happened was that I think the number was about 60. I think it was 70 million. 70 million was the price that Villa would have accepted because they knew they would have had to have sold Morgan Rodgers and make pure profit. And that would have been a great deal for Chelsea, even if Villa were considering the sale of the Englishman. But now that they've sold the women's team again, they're probably under less pressure. But again, if they want to invest in other parts of their team, then they're going to have to free up some cash. So Rodgers is the one player in there that you can look at from a Villa perspective and say that's instantly 70 million. And people would pay that. They would pay it because I think that he would accept a relatively moderate wage as well. I don't think he'd be asking for $250,000 a week. So I think there's a good argument for Chelsea to come in and take advantage of a situation like that, or other teams as well. But I don't think he'll be sold. I don't think he'll be sold this season. But, not that I wish the worst for Aston Villa, but they are now a direct competitor of us in terms of European football, at least. So I would say that I kind of hope that Aston Villa miss out on Champions League so that they do have to sell him, and then maybe we can buy him. So that would be an interesting scenario. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. But yeah. We need to be looking for a left back for cover for Cucurella. If he gets injured, we'll be screwed. And Cucurella can't be playing every single game. He needs rest. That is very, very true. So, yeah. Also, some updates regarding Noni Madueke. Chelsea want in excess of £50 million. The club believe the current market justifies such a figure given the valuations of Kudos and Elanga. So 50 million is the price Chelsea are looking at as it stands. And I think that that is the correct price. I would say that if there is going to be some form of real negotiations where it's not just a standoff, then what you would say is, both clubs need to move a bit. I'm hearing Chelsea want 50. I'm hearing Arsenal want 40. If Arsenal really want Madueke, they'll pay 50. If Chelsea are desperate to sell, they'll accept 40. Now, we're not desperate to sell, so 40 is not going to happen. Are Arsenal desperate to buy Madueke? Probably not. Can I think of any other profiles off the top of my head? The top who would fit the that sort of player that they're looking for? I honestly can't, off the top of my head, think of many players like that. So my stance is this. It's that if Chelsea are willing to negotiate and Arsenal, if we're both serious about this negotiation, then you should probably meet in the middle at 45. And 45, maybe stick a couple of add-ons, whatever. If Arsenal win the Premier League, God forbid, add 10 million on or something. Something like that. But I don't think we're in a position where we have to sell. I mean, people are saying that in order to buy more players, we're going to have to sell others, and that's fine. But there are other players out there that we can get rid of. We can get rid of Sterling. We can get rid of Chilwell. I don't know what's happened with Mudrik's contract. That presumably is going to be terminated at some point. Although I haven't heard anything about that yet. We're going to sell Petrovic for 25 million. Someone's got to pay it. I mean, honestly, I think you're idiots not to spend that money. I hope Sunderland buy him. I heard that Sunderland are interested in Petrovic. For those of you who don't know, Sunderland's technically my second team. And yes, I do believe you can have second teams. I am a believer. Obviously, Chelsea's my number one. But I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting other teams to do well, especially if you actually have an affiliation with that team. So Sunderland is technically my second team because of my mum's side of the family. My dad's side are all Chelsea, but my mum's side they're Sunderland. Growing up, I was always told it was Newcastle. That shows how interested in football my mum was. But then my grandma said, actually, it is Sunderland. So I was like, oh, bloody hell. I should probably throw away those Newcastle shirts. And then you can have your local team as well. My local team is Reading. So I'll never understand this notion that you can't have a second team. I'll never understand that notion. I know some people would disagree with it, but if you go to any local games as well, and you ask the people in the stadiums what team do they support, most people don't support that local team as their number one. I'll go to Reading and I'll sit next to some guys and they'll go, yeah, we support Man United. Fair enough. You know, the local teams would not get any support if people looked at it as you can only go to one team. It's a little bit different if your first team is Chelsea and your second team is Liverpool. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay, you can't look at it like that. That I can agree with. You can't support two teams in the same. Or if your first team is Chelsea and your second team is Barcelona. Again, I struggle to see that one. But if you have a local team or, some sort of affiliation and they don't compete with your actual team, then I don't have a problem with it. You're right. So basically, UEFA, in order to essentially buy players, we will need to make some sales. You're not wrong there at all. But again, we're under no pressure, mate. We're under no pressure whatsoever. So this whole notion that Chelsea must sell, otherwise we're going to be in big trouble. It's just, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. So I would be very relaxed about this whole situation. I would be pretty calm about it and just see what happens. Time will tell. I mean, this is what's here. So Chelsea have agreed a loss in 25-24 in line with their current predictions for next season's reporting period, covering the 23-24 to 25-26 season. They've committed to losing just 65 million. After removing those asset sales, their pre-tax loss across 3 years to the end of the 23-24 season was around 330 million euros. Avoiding another UEFA breach will likely require plenty of outgoing transfers. But this is the thing, guys. We have a lot of players that we can sell. So it's not a massive issue. And also, we don't need to sign that many players. We're not a million miles away from having a really fucking good team. We do shoot ourselves in the foot, don't get me wrong. We could have a competent goalkeeper in Petrovic, but we've decided to offload him, which is arguably the most stupid decision we've made this window. I would argue that's actually more ridiculous than not buying Magnan. Because the thing is with Magnan, I guess the argument you can make is, oh, we can't spend money. You didn't even have to spend any money to keep Petrovic. You could have just kept what you had and you would have been fine. So I would actually say that's the worst decision we've made in this window. But I mean, both of those decisions both of those decisions affect our goalkeeping situation now. And we're stuck with Sanchez, so that's how it is. That is how it is, guys. I don't think anyone's paying 60 million. So if you are looking to be realistic about sale of Madueke, you have to, 50 is probably about as high as I go, because that's as high as I think anyone else would go. My Petrovic argument, we can't spend. No, I'm just saying that's what they would use as the argument. If you were to make an argument for that, for why we didn't get Magnan, that would have been the reason. I mean, I wanted Petrovic to be our number one. Absolutely. I wanted Petrovic to be our number one. I love Petrovic, and I think that he will. If he's in the Premier League, I think he will be one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League next season, irrespective of who he plays for. I think he'll be snapped up by a top team in the coming years. I can't believe that more top teams aren't looking at Petrovic. I really can't believe that. Yeah. Right. Let's keep going. We've got a little bit more to get through. And we don't actually have that much time. Motherfucker. Nicholas Jackson, who is not considered untouchable, could leave Chelsea following the arrivals of Liam Delap and João Pedro. Again, I think it's a similar situation to Madueke. For the right price, we would be willing to negotiate. I think Jackson is worth more than Madueke because I think it's harder to find a striker in the modern day than it is to find a winger. So I would value Jackson at upwards of 60 million, but I'd be interested to know what the club value him at. So let me know in the comments as well. Crystal Palace have inquired about Josh Achipong on a season loan from Chelsea. Again, this is another transfer that I wouldn't go with this. I don't see the point. I think that he's playing enough at Chelsea now where he can be a part of the squad. There's no point doing it unless the only intention that you have is to sell for a profit. And to be fair, there's a good argument for that. So I am not, I would not be surprised if that actually happened. But at the same time, I don't want it to happen. So, we'll have to see what happens there. And fingers crossed that, we can keep Josh Achipong because I think his development's been good at Chelsea. Listen, guys, we have almost 200 of you in the building as it stands. Only 64 likes as it stands. Come on, people. Over 100 of you have not liked the video. Let's get up to 100. Let's get at least 40 more of you liking that video. Up to 100 likes. Come on, people. I really appreciate everyone that's watching. And big up to yourselves. If you haven't already, smash that like button. Please do. It helps support the channel. And it shows that you're enjoying the content. as well. So big up to everyone. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's finish off with the lineups for the game. I am going to be predicting who Chelsea will be playing, or who I would like Chelsea to play in this match. We know that Robert Sanchez is going to be starting in this game. I would like to see Cucurella playing, although you would argue if we had some depth, maybe we could rotate, but we don't. And then I don't know who I would change, to be honest with you, in some respects, because, you know, I like Tosin and I like Chalobah. I like both of them, to be honest with you. Who played in the last game? It was Chalobah, wasn't it? But Tosin's played quite a few games as well. He didn't play in the last game. He would have played against Benfica. If you've got a winning formula, I don't think you change it. That's always been my belief. Don't change it if you've got a winning formula. But Maresca does like to rotate a little bit. Colwell in there, and then look, I'm going to make a prediction that Tosin starts. Okay, because Maresca likes to rotate a little bit. So I'm going to guess Tosin in there against Fluminense, helping, you know, dealing with set pieces, etc., get a bit of height in there. And then I would probably predict that Chalobah starts in the final if Maresca is going to rotate. And then James in the right back position, inverting. Caicedo to start. He got rested in the last game. I think he starts alongside. Honestly, I'd like to see Santos. And I think Enzo Fernandez has been good as well. No doubt. But I want to see Santos again. And then you can rest Santos for the final, because Caicedo's had a rest. There is an argument for Gusto to play instead of James. There is an argument for that based on, you know, resting him for the final. But I'd still play James. Palmer in the 10. And then I play Neto on the right. I think he's been our player of the tournament so far. And on the left-hand side, who have we got? Goodness. Kunku. João Pedro, I guess. Maybe we play João Pedro as a winger, and then we can play Jackson up front. I mean, does that seem like an unrealistic lineup? Motherfuckers. Oh, God. No, not Badia Shield, please. Please, not Badia Shield. Please, why? Goodness gracious. We've got Badia Shield in there. Or Chalobah, although... Oh, goodness. Yeah, actually, you know what, Mohammed, I'm with you on that. And he's injured as well. God. All right. Right, let's get Chalobah in there. All right, that's like pretty comfy. I played Chalobah on the right. I played Tosin on the left. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder, guys. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I don't have a problem with that lineup, to be fair. There is an argument that you put Enzo Fernandez. I am leaving him out because Caicedo is untouchable. The only reason he was rested was because, every player needs a rest at some point. And with regards to Enzo, I would say that Santos has been brilliant in the last game. So for that reason, keep it coming. Keep it coming. The only other thing you could do is you could put Palm on the right, you put Neto on the left, and then you could play Fernandez in that 10. That's something else you could do. And then you'd have to drop João Pedro. So that's another option that you've got in there. But there is definitely a good chance he will start. There is a good chance. But I would argue that we would still be absolutely fine without Enzo on the pitch. But again, that's one thing. We could obviously put Fernandez in there. All right, we could do both. He is in good form. Listen, people, really appreciate everyone watching. We still haven't got to 100 likes. My goodness, come on, guys. Let's get up to 100 before the end of the video. I really appreciate everyone watching, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. And I'm going to love you and leave you. And I'm looking forward to the game later on. Will I be doing a watch along? I saw a comment earlier that said that. Unfortunately not, because I work. I'm working and I finish work at 8 o'clock. So I won't be able to do a proper watch along. So I'll do a fan cam after the game. I'll do a reaction and then we can go from there. But yeah, that's what's happening as it stands. But really appreciate all your time, guys. And we will catch up very, very soon. All the best and enjoy the rest of your day.